Are you running a 10mm or 45 ACP Glock with a light? Here is your definitive holster fit video. So I've got the Glock 40, which is 10mm. I've got the Glock 21, which is 45 ACP. I've got the Glock 41, which is 45 ACP. I've got the Glock 30 Gen 4 in 45. I've got the Glock 20 Gen 4 in 10mm. And I've got the Glock 30S in 45 ACP. These pistols are built larger to handle those larger rounds. And for the most part, they don't fit regular holsters for those pistols with lights. However, I'm going to start with the Glock 41 in 45 ACP, and I'm going to go ahead and fit up the Surefire X300. This is the U version. However, this pistol has a slimmer slide, a lot like the 9mm versions, and it fits almost perfectly in your 9mm versions of the holsters. So if you're running the Glock 41, simply treat it like it's a Glock 34 when it comes to holster selection. So that's the last I'm going to say about the Glock 41. Let's go ahead and fit up this X300 on these other pistols. So here's the Glock 30S, and that fits a little too tightly. Let's see if a retention adjustment will get us in the realm of where we want it for draw feel. That's a pretty acceptable holster, although you may never run that. Now here's the Glock 30 Gen 4 non-slim version. That is too much retention even let out. I would say that no, it won't fit. Yeah, that's too much retention. So the problem is that Glock made the Glock 29 and 30 slides a tad bit taller. That creates bind in the holster. So we had to decide, are we going to fit the Glock 29 and 30 in these holsters, or are we going to optimize around the longer slide pistols? And the answer was we optimize around the longer slide pistols. Here's the Glock 20 Gen 4. That fits great. Before I move on to the Glock 21, I also want to show you, this is our outside the waistband holster. It's called the M7, and that fits great as well. I'm not going to show you more of the M7, and to be honest, the M6 fitment is just the same as the M7 for all these holsters. Okay, so here's my oddball RTF2 Glock 21, which is essentially makes it a Gen 3 Plus, and that fits in great as well. Finally, here's the Glock 40 in 10mm, and this is the actual weapon that Jameson was using in his Glock 40 review, and that fits perfectly as well. Okay, the longer slide versions work with the X300. So let's try the Glock 30S with the PL350. That goes in really tight. I suspect if I loosened retention that it would fit all right. So I'm already seeing the pattern. I'm going to fit this up on the Glock 30 non-slim version, and I'm betting that this is not going to fit well, if at all. Oh, I really don't want to force it. So the answer is no on that one. So being a bit predictive here, the Glock 21, what do you think? You think it's going to fit? My answer is yup. Just like it's made for it. Glock 21 with PL350 fits great. Let's move on to the TLR1. Here it is on the 30S. Wow, way tight. Glock 30 Gen 4, no go. Glock 20 Gen 4 with that TLR1. Oh yeah, that's nice. Glock 21 Gen 3, that's perfect. Here's the Glock 40 Gen 4 with that TLR1. Another great fit. Here's the Balder Pro R, and this is externally the same size as the Valkyrie Turbo, so it would be a very similar fit. So let's try it on that 30S. Wow, it actually fits pretty well. All right, the Glock 30 Gen 4, it fits, but it's tight. I'm certainly not going to put that in on the holster finder as fitting properly. Let's try the Balder Pro R on this Glock 20, and fits great. Glock 21 Gen 3. I love that snap right there at the very end. And the Glock 40 Gen 4. Nice. Sticks out a tiny bit beyond the end of the holster, but I think that that's a nice fit. All right, so that's the end of the full-size lights. I'm moving on to the TLR7A. Glock 30S Gen 3. Nice. That's what I want to feel. So here's the Glock 30 Gen 4. Again, this is the wider slide version. I am going to pull some of that retention out. Oh yeah, that's nice. So here's the Glock 20 Gen 4. And remember, these longer slide pistols aren't quite as tall. So the best thing to do, I've already adjusted retention in a little bit, and it fits pretty darn good. Glock 21 Gen 3 with that TLR7A on there, and that fits pretty well. There's a little bit of extra movement. So the PL350 looks ridiculous on the Glock 30S, and the TLR7A looks equally ridiculous on this Glock 40, but I'm betting it's gonna fit. That it does. And again, a tiny bit of that movement. So I have the Balder S here, and this is very similar in size and shape to the Balder Mini and the Mini 2. This is the largest of the three. The Balder Mini is a slightly shorter body, and the Mini 2 is not as tall. But they all will fit pretty much similarly, in large part because of their throw lever. So here's the Glock 30S. And that fits excellent into that holster. With the O-lights, they do the magnetic charging. You just slide your charge pendant inside. And if this is setting on your nightstand, you can go ahead and just grab it and pull it away. That pendant will come straight off. Additionally, if you just want to grab the pistol and unholster it, that'll come straight out as well. And that's a feature we have on all of our O-lights that support the pendant charging. Glock 20 Gen 4. Fits great. Glock 21 Gen 3. Again, very similar. Finally, the Behemoth, the Glock 40. Fits pretty well. Finally, we do have no light holsters. Let's try it with the Glock 30S. That one fits pretty well. You know, one of the advantages of running a longer holster is that additional leverage below the belt line helps keep this whole pistol stable. If you cut everything off right at the belt, that pistol tries to flop out. Here's the Glock 30 Gen 4, and that feels way too tight. I'm not going to force it. Here's the Glock 20 Gen 4. Fits and feels great. Glock 20 Gen 3. Feels quite good still. And finally, the Glock 40 Behemoth. Snaps in, feels great, sounds great. That lockup is excellent. So there you have it. If you're running any of the multiple 10mm or 45 ACP Glocks, hopefully this gives you enough information to try to decide how to source and where to source a holster for them. I invite you to come to Werkz.com, go to our holster finder on our page, pick which pistol you're carrying, including the generation, and which light you're carrying, and it is my hope that we can serve your needs. Thank you for watching. This is Shan with Werkz. Have a blessed day.